and welcome to another Bello's Designs video tutorial. This is Linda and I'm so glad you're here. We're going to be making another alcohol ink, this time not a card but an art project here so you can frame it, and it looks so pretty. I'm calling this my Forever Forest. So if you're ready, let's grab those supplies and get going. Okay, we're back. And I'm going to go over these supplies with you. You're going to need some rubbing alcohol, and at the highest percentage you can. I take my alcohol and I put it into a wonderful little 2-ounce squeeze bottle with a fine tip. This is incredibly helpful. So if you don't have one, I encourage you to get one. I might use some blending solution, not sure. I always play with it and see, as I go, so may or may not use it. This is a stomper with, and you can get it from dimholes or scrapbook.com, and it has a felt attachment that you throw away after using it. So I'm going to have probably about 3 of these that I'll be going through. And here are the felts that pre-cut you can purchase. I also put my alcohol, rubbing alcohol, into a spray bottle for a different kind of effect. These pointy Q-tips are wonderful for yet more effects and for erasing. The colors I'm using today, you can use any brand, any colors you want, but to get the picture the way I did, and it might come out a little different. You can never have 2 alcohol pieces looking the same. But I'm going to be using dark chocolate today, iceberg, and the grass field for my alcohol inks. These are the refill inks for Altenews artist markers that are alcohol ink markers. Copic has these things. Tim Holtz by Ranger has the inks. Pinata, I think, is another brand, so keep those in mind. This is for pushing air around. Okay, so I've heard them called air blow thingy. So whatever, and then some other not so desirable names. So whatever you want to call it, that's up to you. And just a regular old cheap straw to blow through. And then, of course, Yupo paper or Graph X plastic paper. You can use photo paper or glossy paper, but your results will come out different depending on which you choose. I'll be using Yupo. All right, let's go. So in case you're wondering about the Yupo paper that I'm using, I'm doing Yupo Heavy Stock. It is heavier. It's really nice. I got this pad from Dick Blick. This is a 5x7, so I don't have to cut it down. And that is nice, but I have to admit, I really do like using the 9x12 size and then cut it down after I've made something. It's really fun to do that. But in this case, this pre-cut size worked out perfect for what we're doing today. And I almost forgot to mention, of course, you're going to need a micron drawing pen for today, and I use the smallest that I can get. That's a 0.5. I like the 0.05, but get the smallest one you can, and you're going to use that. And you need also any archival stamp ink or stays on ink pad. And for the stamp for the picture today, I've used this one before. I love it. It's one of my favorite stamps. But it's called The Skeleton Tree by Lavinia Stamps. And I have it here on my stamping block. So you're going to need this stamp from Lavinia. And like I said, I prefer the micron drawing pens. And the smallest nib that you can get is the best. 0.05, because when you go with a bigger nib, you put down your line and it might be bigger than what you're wanting. Well, you can't make a bigger nib smaller, but if you put down a thin line and you're wanting it to be fatter, you can just add another line to make it fatter. Okay, so it's always better to go less and add more. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so I'm bringing this up again one more time because I wanted you to see there are different effects up in this picture. Like right here, I've got a lot of drip going on, and up here I've got a lot of stippling going on and pouncing. So this is a series of different techniques in order to get this look, but it's also layering as well. So I'm going to show you all of those in order to get this background effect first. All right, so first thing you want to do is put down your color, your base color. I want the blue in the backdrop. I want the browns down near the bottom. This is going to be my bottom. And I want the greens up here at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put in some ink like that. And that's on a dry surface. And then I'm going to come back in with my alcohol. And then to move the color around, you just pick up your Yupo paper and tilt it. My goal here right now is just to get the color set for the backdrop here. And I don't want this heavy blue right there, so I'm going to put some alcohol ink, or rubbing alcohol, excuse me. What the rubbing alcohol does is it dilutes the ink, moves it, and even repels it. Okay, I'm not going for any kind of special, unique design right now. What I'm trying to do is just get down my color. So now I'm going to come back in with some brown. This is a darker pigment, so I don't need very much. And I'm going to use some blending solution because I'm going to have a couple of colors meeting other colors. It'll move it around, but it also keeps it moving for a little bit longer than just rubbing alcohol. And remember I said no two alcohol ink pictures ever come out the same. So when you start creating your picture, it's not going to look like mine. It won't even come close. And my own picture isn't going to look like my first picture. It will always be different. And that is one of the wonderful things about alcohol inks. And just remember, when you use alcohol inks and the rubbing alcohol and all, it's going to change. There's a chemical reaction happening. And so when you think, oh, it's done, it's not. It's changing, and it's continuing to change right now before your eyes. So it's really quite incredible. So you can see, you could kind of think of this as vines, and this is the canopy, and maybe some tree trunks here. And since I want more green at the canopy, I'm going to put a little bit of ink on my dauber in the green. I'm twisting my hand in order to get different designs. And now I'm kind of pretending like the brown represents tree trunks and the ground itself. So you can turn your pouncer on the side. As you go along, you might want to think about, well, where am I going to put my trees? If I put this bit of dark green in this location right here, is that going to create a problem for my trees? And for me, I'm imagining a tree being right here and maybe a couple here and here. So you're going to want those areas where the trees are going to be, excuse me, to be a bit lighter, so that the ink from the stamp shows up better. Now I'm going to take a Q-tip and I'm going to put some alcohol on it. And I want to start applying it like I would a paintbrush, but it's kind of like eraser right now. I'm going to remove some of this. I want a tree to go right here, so. Now I'm going to take a break here to really look at my picture. All right, I see I've got this blue area here. This looks really cool. These almost look like little tiny caves. This looks like a mound of moss. This looks like it could be a tree, your branches coming off of it a little bit. Maybe even some cliffs going on here. This side, it bothers me a little bit. I'm gonna add, I think I want to lighten this up a little more, try to bring out some blue, and then bring this lighter as well and bring it down. So the best way to do that is with some alcohol right there, and let it drip. Okay. Now, once we get to this point, we can see if the stamp is going to look great in it, or if we need to keep working it. So let's go to the next step. Okay, so using the plastic from the stamp, you can place it over the picture and see if you like where it would land. Now for me, I want to have this a little lower, like that, and that curve up at the top of the backdrop fits that perfectly. And then I've got this cool little cave thing going on right there. I think I'd want to intersperse some of these. I think I'm going to have my 3 trees over here and just the one over here, like that. So I am happy with where it is right now. I think it looks neat. I really like it. And it's a lot different than the last one. If I were to work this anymore, I might do some more drips in it. But I'm going to come back in with a pen and show you the detail work. So let's go on to the next step. Okay, so we're back, and I'm going to be using Archival ink by Ranger. This is an acid-free, permanent, waterproof ink. Okay, so I'm going to ink up my tree here, my wonderful Lavinia tree. Now I'm going to be overlapping that other tree, and that's fine, that's what I want. Once you get your trees stamped in, you're going to want your drawing tool. I'm going to take it off this paper towel now. Okay, and we'll be right back to start the inking. Okay, so now that we're back, I'm going to try to zoom in here for you. And I am going to be inking on this tree first, okay? So here we go. And I've got this micron pen at a 005. All I'm doing is I'm going over the trunk. And because I'm older and seemingly blind as a bat, I'm gonna put on special glasses so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so there's the first tree, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these trees in the same way, and then we'll come back and see the finished thing. I might add a little bit more at the bottom, but we'll see. Okay, now that I have all the trees penned in, what I did was that I did this tree, I did all of the trunks, I did this tree because it's the closest. I did this tree because it's closest. And then the branches in this tree, I didn't do very many of them because it's supposed to be towards the back. Okay? Now, I've got all these little nooks and crannies in here where I can imagine rocks and dirt and cliffs and hills and what have you. So that's where your detail brush, or pen, also comes into play to create the details. Like in my previous picture here, all these little nooks and crannies I outlined with the black ink to accentuate them, to make them pop out. Okay, so as you can see, I really made a huge difference when I added in the details. I was just following the lines of the ink that was already there, and it was kind of telling me what it wanted to be. And I imagined them being rocks and rock faces, and then right here, maybe some trees, and back in the distance were moss. And you know what? You don't have to just use the trees. Lavinia has so many beautiful stamps that you could use, from flowers and leaves to, of course, trees and other trees that they have. So, have fun, play, and then you can, well, let's say it. You can have a couple of beautiful pictures when you're done. See the difference? Now I feel like this one's at night, or day, and this one's like, I don't know, early morning. It's fun to make these pictures. I hope you had fun today, and thank you so much for joining me. I wanted to send you all the love in the world. Thank you very much. Much love.